hitting that red button. Let's freaking go. This stream is all about how to stay motivated when you're producing content on the internet. Let's fire up all the live streams on Twitch, Mixer, and Facebook. How's it going, everybody? Andrew Wall here. You guys already knew that, though. Doing these daily live streams at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And this one is all about how you stay inspired. After you do hundreds of repetitions of creating content, you've made the same video about the same game. You've made a million fishing videos. You've made a million magic videos. How many freaking videos of the same type can you make before you run out of juice, before you run out of inspiration, before you run out of steam, before you want to switch topics, even if it's not good for you or good for your business? And that's something I need to talk to you guys about today, because there's a number of strategies. Good morning to you, Gimlin. There's a number of strategies that you can use to stay inspired, to keep your energy up, to stay motivated, even if you get sick, even if you are tired, even if you are not inspired anymore, even if you're just sick of that particular topic that you've been covering. You need to proceed, you need to push through, and you need to put some systems in place in your life and with your strategy that can help you overcome those barriers. I know from experience, having produced myself personally like 1,000 videos, I've gone hot, cold so many times on so many topics for so many different reasons. And let's talk about how you can remain consistent, you can remain happy, you can remain inspired, you can remain motivated, no matter what. And it's really appropriate, I feel, today, because today I have a gigantic headache. And my throat is swollen so bad, and it hurts really, really bad to talk. So I just took medicine, I'm drinking coffee, and I'm making sure to eat healthy and take care of myself right now. And it's one thing that we're gonna talk about. And I'm gonna take lots of breaks today during the day. So there's ways to push through and continue to make content, even if you feel like absolute crap like I feel right now, and you can still deliver great things to your audience without killing yourself. So cheers to all of you guys, let's talk about it. Echo Gaming, it's always good to see you. What's poppin', Awall? Tell you what's poppin'. Some coffee and some medicine, amigo. So here are the things, here's the tweet that we're gonna be focusing on today. And there's a couple things that I've talked about before, but there's also a few other nuances that I wanna talk about with you guys about how you can stay motivated. So obviously doing the same thing hundreds of times and doing it thousands of times, the more you do it, the less inspiring it is to create a particular type of content, to do a particular type of thing. I mean, doing these live streams every day, I love doing these live streams, but sometimes I don't feel like doing them. Okay, I still need to do them because I have promised you guys I would do them, and I know that in the future I will enjoy doing them again. And so there's something really important that I talk about a lot, and I want to re-emphasize this here, because the 80-20 rule that I talk about when it comes to content production isn't just about what you need to do to make sure that you're capitalizing on the YouTube algorithm, where you're capitalizing on, you know, Twitch or Mixer, or making sure that you're constantly experimenting. The primary reason why you want to do this is so that you stay motivated and that you stay interested in content creation. Because if your motivation drops and if your interest drops, then the whole operation shuts down, or you completely switch directions and you kill your channel. And hey, it's good to see you. All right, Mahamud. How do you pronounce your first name? Is it Faizan? Is that how you pronounce it? Anyway, it's great to see you in chat. And so what I'm talking about when I talk about the 80-20 rule is something very, very simple. And I'll just show it to you on my channel because I've started doing it on my channel here recently, and I think it's important, and I'm gonna be doing more of this in the future. I love doing live streams, as you guys know, but I am gonna get burnt out on doing these live streams if I only do live streams and if I'm not experimenting with new things. So let me show you myself putting the 80-20 rule into action on my channel and explain why it's important and why you guys need to be using the 80-20 rule so that you can stay motivated and so that you can stay inspired. So as you can see right here, this is a live stream, but I ended up this week mixing in a video here, and then this is a live stream, this is a live stream, and this is a video that I'll be releasing later this afternoon, which is great. So I started mixing in things that weren't live streams into my content slate so that I can continue to stay motivated and make different types of content along the way. So doing 80% for me live streams, making sure that that is the core of my content is really, really important. because that's what's working for me, are all of these live streams. But as you guys can see, I have mixed in a 20% at least mix of doing, well, that's also a live stream right here, but of also doing a video here. I even did a gaming live stream, and I even recorded myself playing a YouTube mobile game here to mix it up. So as you can see, I'm putting the 80-20 rule into action. And the 80-20 rule is 80% the core content that is working on your channel, and then 20% experimental content so that you can stay interested. You guys are human beings. You are not freaking machines, right? You aren't machines that can just crank out content nonstop with no break. You can't do the same task over and over and over again and stay interested in it. That's why video games have updates and DLCs to keep you interested in it. That's why you aren't going to read the same book over and over again. You want to read the next book. Human beings quickly get bored. And one of the primary things that we focus on, and that all of you are focusing on as content creators, is fighting boredom. You are fighting other people's boredom by making content. And so by you staying motivated yourself and you staying inspired yourself, you can help other people fight their boredom. But if you are bored, your audience is going to be bored, which is really, really important. Justin Grove, good to see you in Periscope chat, says, this is all true. You primarily do pre-recorded, heavily edited Let's Plays, but you also do more. Exactly. So if you only do pre-recorded, heavily edited Let's Plays over and over and over again, there's gonna be hours where you're sitting there in your editing bay or at your computer and you're clicking those edits and you're editing in those funny moments and you're just like, oh my god, I hate this. And you keep hitting the Windows button or whatever, looking at your clock and seeing, okay, how long have I been doing this? When do I think this will be over? And you keep looking forward to the next thing that you can be working on. That is natural. That is something that is very, very natural for people to have as content creators, and I totally understand that feeling. However, if you're able to mix in 20% of your content as new, exciting stuff, then you can stay motivated over time because you're doing new tasks, and it better serves how your brain works. Your brain doesn't want to do the same task over and over again. That's why people get bored. That's why we need entertainment. That's why we need music, books, movies, live streams. That's why these devices, cell phones, became so incredibly popular, because they give you unlimited amounts of content, and we want even more. We want that content to come into our brains even faster than this device can provide. And like if you look at the most recent Apple announcements with their iPhones, it's about bigger screens, faster speeds, faster ways to get more content. Our appetites for content, our appetites for new things are insatiable. So you need to build your content strategy in a way that just concedes to how the human brain works. Let me show you another example of one of my patrons that that's doing my $150 coaching tier. What he's doing on his channel to mix up his content strategy to ensure that he's happy. I'm not going to reveal too much about what's going on behind the scenes with him, but I will tell you this. He was doing Let's Plays on his channel, and he was grinding out those Let's Plays over and over and over and over and over again. And he's only a human being, right? And so he enjoyed doing these Let's Plays right here. He enjoyed it. He really did. But when I talked to him, you know, Michael was telling me, I'd like to try something else. I'm only human. I'd like to try something else. I'd like to try a new strategy, but obviously I don't want to break my channel along the way. So as you can see, back in the day, his content was very, very much doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, and it was working, and his audience liked it. They liked it a lot. But now if you look at his content strategy today, it has much more variety in it. And he is now a happier person for it. And I've been coaching him on this, coaching him on the 80-20 rule, coaching him on how to increase the variety of his content. So this is what he's been doing here. Now he's doing live streams, which are more interesting because you get to engage with a live audience, which is cool. He's now doing Pokemon Go, which he wasn't doing before. And he even did a Nintendo Direct stream where he was checking out new things that are happening in the industry. And he continued, of course, to do his series where he does Pokemon Talk Puppet stuff, which is his total variety series on his channel. The variety that he has now is keeping him happy, keeping him motivated, which is great. That means that this really bubbly personality, this successful YouTuber, MJTV, can continue to be successful moving forward, which is really, really important. If he lost his motivation, do you know how many times I've seen YouTube channels tank? You know how many people I've talked with where they said they just can't get over that inspiration hump. They're frustrated with their lack of growth. They're frustrated with the lack of growth of viewers. The money's not coming in. They don't like the videos that they're making. Do you know how many people I've talked to like that? I mean, it's crazy, that have messaged me over the years, being like the head of a network figure, and especially in the gaming space. People are just frustrated. This game isn't growing my channel, or I don't know what I'm doing wrong, or I'm so tired of playing this one game. How do I get out of this? Like, I used to love video games and now I hate them. People have told me that many, many times, dozens of times. And and if you guys have ever felt that way, don't feel bad about yourself. Don't feel like you take what you're doing for granted, okay? It's only human if you're repeating the same activity over and over again to get tired of it. Embrace the fact that that is going to happen and put methods into place to fix it and to make sure that it doesn't happen anymore. Tice, it's always great to see you. Rel, yeah, it's great to see you. You can't stay long, you gotta catch the replay. No problem, dude. It's all good. These replays are on Twitch, Periscope, Mixer, Facebook, and YouTube every single day. And I wanted to point out, I just noticed this earlier right before the stream, check that. You can see right through me with my Boba Fett shirt. I'm not human. I am not human. I am robot. Anyway, it looks pretty cool. So let's talk about the other things that you can do, because I'm not just going to point at green things on my shirt. There are other things that you need to do, and we're going to talk about the YouTube algorithm here too. It's not just about taking breaks. So we already talked about the 80-20 rule, having variety in your content. It's not just about taking breaks though. All right, so there's a couple things. So I'm talking about taking let's talk about the short-term breaks that you need to take. Let me just read a few of your comments before we get into that. You learned very quickly that you had to get creative and switch things up, like doing original skits, says Justin Grove. Exactly. Instead of doing just one type of content, Let's Plays, you also do music videos, skits, reaction compilations, vlogs. That's fantastic. Justin, it sounds like you've really got to figure it out. And if you're happy, your audience is going to be happy. Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, you're going to be hitting me up on Patreon. Amazing. I cannot wait to get in. I was talking to my wife because I'm not that knowledgeable right now about homesteading and being off the grid. I cannot wait to do research on your niche and to learn all about that. Just bunkers and solar and living off the land. It's going to be super interesting for me doing research phase with you guys, so I can't wait to work with you. Echo Gaming's trying to sell you on me, saying that I'm worth it. So thank you, Echo. Thanks for pushing me in my patron services. Your problem, says Justin Grove, is that you don't want to play big view games like Fortnite because you don't enjoy them, and that is holding you back. I understand that. So let's address that with the 80-20 rule. All right, and that is the way to tackle the 80-20 rule. To tackle the I don't want to do the popular thing anymore. I'm sick and freaking tired of it. You're sick and freaking tired of Fortnite in your example. Other people may be sick and tired of doing bass fishing videos. They would rather do videos on cooking seafood. But, you know, when they're doing cooking seafood videos, they don't get as many views as when they're showing them catching huge bass. Or let's say you're a magic channel, like the videos that get the most views are you reacting to people doing magic tricks. When you do your actual tricks, which is actually what you like, you don't get as many views. How do you address that? The 80-20 rule is how you address that, okay? Let me tell you a fun story about a channel that has outlasted all of our competitors. Every single one of our competitors in the gaming space that started when we did with TGN is dead. Every single channel we were competing with in the early days of TGN is dead. And TGN is still here. Years later, something like 10 years later from when we started this channel. And the reason why I'm telling you the 80-20 rule works is our competitors, like the original Machinima channel, like the original Polaris channel, the Game Station, there are all these gaming channels very similar to TGN's channel back in the day. And they all died over time. And you know why they died? It's a variety of reasons. But the reason why those channels died is that they committed to a particular topic too hard. They went all in on a premium content production slate, or they went all in on, let's pay huge influencers tons and tons of money to do certain types of content. And the purpose of this isn't to hate on those entities that were pioneers in the industry that I respect, like Machinima, Polaris, Maker, Fullscreen, all those guys. Mad respect. I was there in the beginning with them. The point of me telling you this story about all of those networks and all of those channels is they overcommitted to one thing. They didn't do the 80-20 rule with their content strategy, like TGN did. TGN has constantly evolved to stay alive on YouTube and to succeed. They were doing the 100 rule. They were doing one kind of thing all in, and eventually, if you keep going all in on a particular type of content, your channel dies. Because you're taking risk after risk after risk after risk, and maybe those risks work the second, third, fourth time, but maybe the money runs out. Maybe the views aren't there. Maybe your crew is sick and tired of making a certain type of content, and your channel dies. The operation crumbles. So if you use the 80-20 rule, Justin, in your case, you're doing Fortnite content with maybe 80% of your content. Use the other 20, like you're saying, to do that other variety content. You will discover a new game. Focus specifically on covering other games, and you will hit one at some point. It might take 3 months. It might take 6 months. It might take 12 months, but you will get there. Okay? Let me show you somebody I've worked with who was the original TGN director and has been on YouTube for something like 10 years. His name is Rory Khan. He is the ultimate example, I feel, in grind. His channel has something like 6,000 videos on it, and he has 30 million views. He's been in the game since 2011. And guess what? His channel was not successful at all until recently. He had to make 4,000 videos before he became successful, and he took off. So I want you guys to keep Rory Khan. I'm gonna link Rory Khan right here for you guys in chat. Grind is very, very important. And one thing that was important to Rory Khan, and there's a big part of his success, is that he constantly made content that he wanted to make, not just covering the most popular game. That allowed him to have longevity. That allowed him to discover new topics. Until recently, he discovered Monster Hunter World as the topic on his channel. He had covered hundreds of games before this. And finally, he found a game on his channel that got him to take off with Monster Hunter World. Now he's one of, if not the top YouTuber for Monster Hunter World, getting an average of like 25,000 or so views per video, which is great. He's making a living off of this now, so good job. But the point is, if he had just gone after only the popular games, and he had not done an 80-20 strategy, instead he had done a 100% I'm gonna go all in on a popular game strategy or a popular topic strategy, he'd be dead. He would literally have stopped making content because he would hate it. He would hate himself. He would hate the process of making content. So to me, somebody like that, like Rory Khan, who's a freaking hustler, is a great example of, if you continue to experiment and you continue to do what you love and you're in it for the long run, you will eventually be very successful. And so, round of applause to Rory Khan for that. He's not huge right now, but he certainly is making a living and being able to support his family by making content. So hell yeah, good for you. You think Markiplier is a good example of how to run a successful Let's Play channel? He's legit, I agree. He is very legit. I absolutely agree with Markiplier, and he also has a high level of variety. Walker Talton, thank you for joining in chat. Pesh Plays, it's good to see you. Ty says, I remember when Machinima was there right before you joined the TGN community. Yeah, I mean, if we take a look at Machinima, and this isn't me talking smack about Machinima, I think that Machinima is... They are an innovator. They were an innovator. They went all in super duper early on gaming content. But as you can see, they haven't released a piece of content on their 12 million subscribers channel in 2 months. And that's something that, you know, it's just it's a consequence of business things, and I don't want to get all into it because I actually don't know the entire behind the scenes story. But the point is, I did study their channel relentlessly for like 5 years leading up to this recent era of them not producing much content. And what it was is, at different points, they would go all in on a variety strategy. So it'd be like covering 15 games at a time. they go all in on a premium strategy. They would go all in on these different strategies along the way, and it ended up causing the downfall of this channel eventually. But I have mad respect for Machinima because they pioneered online video in many, many ways. And they showed everybody that AAA content, super well-produced content, was possible on YouTube. And they led the way, I think, for a lot of opportunities for gaming creators and creators across the board that wanted to do more well-produced and higher-produced content. So anyway, that's my little Machinima bit. All right. Beautiful. So let's go ahead and talk about the next thing. You're saying, Justin Grove, you're not sure what you're currently doing wrong. Your channel name is Oversoul Gaming if I want to look. So you need to ask me a specific question about your channel and I'll answer that. If you want me to do a full channel review, that's something that I reserve for my patrons, where I like fully analyze a channel. This is my Patreon right here, if you're interested in joining, but that's something that my patrons get. But I will answer your specific questions about your channel if you have those. Okay, beautiful. So let's take a look at the next point. Taking breaks strategically. Very, very important to take breaks strategically. So there's the short-term breaks. Oops, you can't see what I'm saying. There's the short-term breaks, and then there are the long-term breaks. So let's talk about the short-term breaks. And I put the little coffee emoji there on my tweet. Let's talk about the short-term breaks. I'm talking about right now, even during my own stream. If I'm not feeling it, like right now I have a massive headache. My throat hurts so bad. I just need a freaking sip of coffee. So you know what? I'm gonna say cheers to you guys. I'm gonna drink some coffee right now. I hope you're having a great day. Okay, that is a short-term break. But let's talk about maybe a little bit less short-term than that. Let's talk about it throughout your day. I recommend taking a break at minimum every 1.5 hours of working on content, no matter how into it you are, no matter how much you love it. It's very, very important to do that every 1.5 hours minimum. If you can take one every hour, do it. I'm talking about take a walk around the block. I'm talking about go take a stretch, go walk outdoors, get out of your current environment when you're producing content or live streaming or whatever, and go just be somewhere else other than your dark cave where you're editing your videos or you're live streaming or you're producing content every hour and a half. Go, and what I do now is the healthiest type of break I've ever taken. I actually exercise during my breaks. And I break up an exercise routine throughout my day into little chunks. So every 1.5 hours, so that I can stay motivated. I have a wife, I have kids, I have a full-time job, and I'm running this kind of side business, if you will, that I'm doing right now by coaching creators. So I have a lot to do, and I have to keep my energy up all day. All the way through the day, I don't get a real break. So what that means is I need to take breaks throughout the day to take care of myself and take care of my health, and I recommend you guys do this. So what I've been doing recently, every 1.5 hours, is I will do 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, and 20 squats every 1.5 hours. That's not that much exercise, right? But if you do that throughout the day, by the end of the day, I end up doing 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 100 squats by the end of the day. So my body is constantly getting what it needs. It gets exercise, it gets activity, the blood gets flowing. My brain gets a break from doing complex activities like doing live streams like this, or coaching people, or managing a business, or doing accounting spreadsheets and taking care of my kids and blah, blah, blah in my life. And I get a simple moment of push-ups, counting to 20. Simple. It's so good. Do exercise, light exercise to start with. When I started doing exercise and taking breaks throughout the day, I could only do 10 push-ups in a row before my tiny little arms could handle, like, look how small they are right now, and that's me doing 100 push-ups a day, right? So I'm getting there, right? That's my build. So start small, only do what you feel comfortable doing, and just do small exercise as you take breaks during editing, take breaks during streaming, take breaks during brainstorming, take breaks during doing photography, take breaks during thumbnails, all the social media management. Take breaks, because when you take a break and you come back, you're gonna have that fuego idea. You're gonna have that fire idea when you come back from your break. It's very, very important. So that's short-term breaks. But here's the really interesting thing that you guys are probably the most... Afnan, it's great to see you. Hi, Awall Play Games. I'm actually talking about the 80-20 rule, and I'm going to play games on my channel more. So thanks for asking for that. I will play games, and if you guys want me to play games on my channel, tell me which games you'd like me to play. I'm happy to do that. Okay, so let's talk about taking breaks from your channel, taking breaks from your live stream, and taking breaks from production. So many people worry about taking a break. Is your channel gonna die if you take a break from your channel? Is your channel going to experience death if you stop producing content? I made an entire video about YouTuber burnout, but so many YouTubers are worried about the death of their channel. They're worried about the death of their stream if they take a break. And I'm not talking about a coffee break. I'm talking about taking a few days off, maybe a week off, maybe 2 weeks off for a vacation. What will happen to your channel? Will it die if you take a break? And the answer to that question is encouraging. And I want you guys to remember this. So you wanted me to give you some feedback in a moment on your channel, Justin, on your thumbnails? Okay, I'm happy to. Yeah, I'll take a look at your channel in a moment. Great to see all these people on Periscope. Thanks for joining, by the way. If you're new to the stream, feel free to speak up and ask your questions. It's completely interactive. I'm just talking about YouTuber motivation and creator motivation. So will your channel die if you stop making videos on your channel? And the answer to that question is, it will take a hit. I'm gonna be honest with you, it will take a hit, but it will take a smaller and smaller hit over time than it used to in the past. So let's talk about it. I'll just pull up PewDiePie's channel as an example because he's a grinder. And he takes days off sometimes and then comes back to his channel. And do you know why that works? Because YouTube, listen to this. If you only listen to one thing on the stream, listen to this information. Are you ready? The majority of views now with the new YouTube algorithm, the majority of views that are going to come into your channel are coming after the first 24 hours now with the new YouTube algorithm overall. The majority of views are coming after the first 24 hours. In fact, a significant amount of the views that are going to come into your channel come after the first 120 days. YouTube more and more is emphasizing older content so that it can use some of the ancient good videos on the platform, the older videos on the platform, and serve those to viewers moving forward. So what does this mean for you if you want to take a break so that you can stay motivated? What this means is that if you have a strategy on your channel where you create videos that you know will get like big views over time, then you can produce a bunch of those, say a month or two before you're going to go on vacation. Then you go on vacation. And then those videos will rack up views over time on your channel, and you'll be okay when you come back because you'll have those minutes watched on your channel, and your channel will still be succeeding because the YouTube algorithm will reward that it's called long tail content. Let me show you some examples of what I mean by long tail content. Long tail content isn't news, okay? Anything that's new or timely or things like that, that is not long tail content. Long tail content is there's another name for it, is like evergreen content. It's content that is relevant for years from now. And so let me show you some of the most successful videos on TGN as an example so that you guys can understand what I'm talking about. So some of the most popular videos we've produced are like this video right above my head. This one right here, 10 amazing gamer homes, right above my head. Leopard the Goat, can you review my channel? I'm happy to do a full review of your channel if you become my patron. If you ask me a specific question about your channel, then I can answer that, of course, in chat. That's why I do these live streams every day. But my patrons, I'll link it right here, get full channel reviews if they are on my $25 tier. I put in a couple hours of research to do full channel reviews for people. So let's talk about that evergreen content. 10 amazing gamer homes is an example of evergreen content. All right, so, and also down here, let me show you another example. It is 10 types of gamers. These are videos that we got over 1 million views on. 10 types of gamers. No matter what year it is, there will be 10 types of gamers, okay? This video will always be relevant, no matter what. Like, maybe new consoles are introduced, maybe the industry changes in a major way over the next 5 years, but the bottom line is 10 types of insert the thing that you do. 10 types of magicians, 10 types of Pokemon players, 10 types of fishermen, 10 types of bosses, 10 types of insert the thing that you make on your channel. That's evergreen content. And when we released this video about 10 types of gamers, we were disappointed because right when it got released, it got like 10,000 views and we were like, oh, we thought it was a pretty good video, but okay. And then like 3 months later, it jumped up to like 300,000 views. And then now it's at 1.5 million views. And this is a year-old video. So the point of me telling you this is the YouTube algorithm has changed so that it rewards long tail content. It rewards evergreen content, and it is going back into the archives to go find older stuff and to push it moving forward. So, does that mean your old videos will just magically get views? No. What it means is that if your older videos generate a high click-through rate, and your older videos have a high audience retention, then there is the possibility that you can get these videos to take off moving forward. Another tactic that you can use if you have like an evergreen video. Do you guys get evergreen? Do you know what I mean by evergreen? Post in chat if you understand what I mean by evergreen. But if you want me to explain evergreen a little bit more, I will, but I think it's pretty clear, right? So what you can do with this evergreen content is swap the thumbnail. If the video is kind of dead, but you feel like you could get a higher click-through rate and you want to bring that video back to life. So for those of you that are looking to go on vacation, those of you that are looking to take a break so you can stay motivated, swap the thumbnail on your evergreen content from your older videos that you feel is still relevant, and it will reinsert it, if you will, into the YouTube algorithm and give it another shot to perform. If you do this, say a couple weeks, maybe a month before you go on vacation, those older videos might start taking off and your channel's doing great for you to go on vacation. You get it? It's that simple. Guys, you can take a break on YouTube, but, and that's the whole point of this tweet over here, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this down. If you guys haven't already shared this tweet or liked it or whatever, please do that. My strategy is entirely word of mouth. I'm doing live streams on YouTube to help YouTubers and to help creators and to help streamers. This isn't gonna grow very fast. Without your word of mouth, this is not a growth strategy for me. I'm just trying to deliver as much value as possible. So share and like this tweet, please, or at least comment on it, and help me get the word out. But that's the point of me putting strategically right here. You don't wanna just take a break and hope your channel does okay. Produce long tail content before you take a break. Swap out your thumbnails on your gangster videos that could come back to life. And produce stuff that will potentially get lots of views over time before you take that break, and you'll be good. And when you come back, the algorithm will not have destroyed your YouTube channel, okay? I think it's very important for all of you guys to remember that. And also, never compromise your health. Okay, we're gonna talk about motivations in a moment, but before we talk about motivations, I do wanna answer a question here from Justin Grove. Justin's asking me a million questions, so he's looking for advice on why his videos don't reach people outside of his current audience. So let's go ahead and see what your channel name is. Oversoul Gaming. Guys, let's all give Justin Grove from Periscope some feedback on his channel, and then we'll get back on the train here of talking about understanding your motivations and why that is critically important to being able to stay motivated, obviously, and to be inspired on YouTube. So let's take a look at Oversoul Gaming's channel, and normally I do a bunch of research on channels before I do a full review, but let's see if we can identify what it is about this channel that is maybe preventing it from reaching more audiences. You guys in chat on Periscope, Mixer, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, you're all creators. So before I say anything, let me zoom in here. Take a look at these thumbnails. Take a look. I'll disappear. Check it out. Take a look. I'll disappear. Take a look at these thumbnails and tell me, and these titles, and tell me, would that reach you potentially if you were the potential audience here? Is this something interesting that you would click on, most importantly? If it is, say why in chat. If these thumbnails are not, say why not. Let's give this creator, Justin Grove, who's asking this question, a specific bit of feedback on that. Let's get a large case study here from creators that are also experts in their own area on why you would click or not click these thumbnails, because that'll tell you how you reach more audiences, right? You reach more audiences on YouTube by having a higher click-through rate, followed up by a longer audience retention on your videos. If people, when YouTube serves your thumbnails, if those thumbnails are not having a high click-through rate per impression, when it gives impressions to new viewers, then you aren't going to be able to reach new viewers. So I'm telling you that your click-through rate is your most critical way to reach new viewers. Put your feedback in the chat, guys. Let's get that honest feedback for this creator. Keep it 100 for him, okay? Keep it 100 for Oversoul Gaming, and then we're gonna come back to talking about your motivations, okay? Because understanding your motivations is important. I'm not just talking about, you know, obviously you like making content. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, when we're talking about motivations in a moment, I'm talking about balancing your financial goals with your audience growth goals, with your creative goals, and figuring out how to balance those things. It is critical to staying motivated. We'll talk about that in a moment though. Let's help this creator out. Okay, so I'll provide some of my feedback on these thumbnails. So first things first, let's just go thumbnail by thumbnail and provide some feedback. So first things first, I think that this thumbnail, for example, there's too many elements in this thumbnail. All right, so there's this face, I assume that's your face there. Plus there's a part 3, so there's one element, your face. There's part 3 up here, 2 elements there. There's a character right here, 3 elements there. Plus there's like another character here in the background, there's 4 elements there. And then you have the word Cuphead here. There's 5 elements there. And then also down here, there's some more text. So that's 6 elements in your thumbnail. That is way too many elements to have in one thumbnail. It's just way too many elements. I can't tell what's even going on here, first of all. I can't really even identify the elements of the thumbnail, really. There's just too much going on. At a glance, it just makes my brain hurt. So you need to reduce the number of elements you have down in your thumbnail to 3 or less, in my opinion, on all of these thumbnails. And most importantly on this one, I don't understand what the value of this video is just by looking at the thumbnail. It just looks like here's a boss maybe? Here's a random face? What's happening here? Is this video unique? Is this video, are you doing something that's the best? Are you overcoming some kind of challenge? Are you teaching us something? Are you showing us something new? I don't see any of those 5 magic content values that'll get views on your video here, so I wouldn't click that. There's literally no value being communicated through your thumbnail. So when YouTube's serving this to new viewers, and serving this, giving impressions to your content and giving it a shot, viewers are looking at this and they're going, there's no value there, so why would I click that? So you need to clearly communicate one of those 5 values: new, best, challenge, learning, or unique, or nobody's gonna click, first of all. Second of all, flying levels suck. Generally speaking, people don't like to click videos that A, already tell you the conclusion of the video. You're already saying that flying levels suck. Great, everybody already knows your opinion on flying levels. Why should they watch the video now? They already know you think they suck. Why would they watch? Second part about this is you're saying that they suck. Who's your target audience? People that love Cuphead. So why is somebody that loves Cuphead, this particular game, gonna click a video that says the game that they love sucks? Why would they click that? Of course they're not gonna click that. They wanna have fun watching a Cuphead video. They wanna learn something about a Cuphead video. They wanna see something new in Cuphead. They wanna see somebody being the best at Cuphead. They wanna see somebody overcoming a challenge in Cuphead. They don't wanna see somebody just saying it sucks. So this video right here didn't get views because A, you communicated no value. B, it's just confusing. And C, you're being negative and you're pushing your target audience away. You're pushing your audience away by being negative. All right? So what you need to do moving forward is simplify your thumbnails, clearly communicate one of the 5, if not multiple of the 5 content values, and just do that. More simple thumbnails, communicate the 5 content values, and then that will increase your click rate by a significant margin. If you want a goal for your click-through rate, you can say that, if you want a goal, you can say that 10% click-through rate should be your goal if you want me to give you a goal. I will give you a goal. 10% or above is generally speaking a pretty good click-through rate on your videos, okay? And you're saying it was meant to be the 3rd episode of a Let's Play. I understand. You weren't really going for any value. The thing is, I understand that you weren't going for any value, and that's what people do who makes Let's Plays. They're saying it's just the 3rd episode of this thing. Nobody cares about the 3rd episode of your thing, unless you communicate value about the 3rd episode of your thing. The fact that it is the 3rd episode of something is not valuable to anybody. That doesn't mean anything to anybody. It's just, unless you've already watched episode 1 and 2 and you already know the value of the series, you aren't gonna click this. So you're trying to reach new viewers. I'm trying to be brutally honest with you to help you reach new viewers. And I understand Cuphead, and I understand Cuphead is YouTube fodder for Rage Reacts. Cool. If this was a Rage React video, then I want to see your face being 50% of the thumbnail and you raging right here. And then the other 50% of the thumbnail is maybe this character next to you, taking out all the text, and you're saying, YouTuber reacts to flying levels in Cuphead or something like that. And you say it's some kind of reaction video, or it's some kind of rage video, or something like that, where you communicate that there's a unique value in the video. Right now, if that's what you're going for was you are raging over this game, there are too many elements in the thumbnail for me to tell that you were raging over the game. There's not too many elements there for me to tell that that's the value you're trying to communicate. And so it's just completely lost on new viewers. Completely lost on new viewers because it's just too complicated to understand. You're saying the game sucks. There's a bunch of stuff going on. I just can't tell. All right. So I know that was brutally honest feedback for you, but I want you to be brutally honest with you so that I can help you with this. And if you want inspiration for just for reactionary thumbnails, I will show you the king of reactionary thumbnails and just take it. Don't laugh. Don't say, oh God, clickbait. Learn from the best on YouTube, Ali A. Everybody's like, oh, it's such clickbait, it's ruining YouTube. No, it's not. YouTube is designed like this. Ali A is just taking advantage of how YouTube is designed. This is how you do reaction thumbnails. This is how you react to something and have people understand that you are reacting to something. You show a big, clear reaction in the thumbnail, as you can see from all of his thumbnails. He's excited, he's crying, he's surprised, he's what? And he only has a couple other elements in the thumbnail, usually something with an arrow pointing to the thing he's reacting to. You can say, clickbait, it's garbage, Ali A's garbage. No, Ali A is a master. He is master class, delivering value to audiences through his thumbnails and through his titles. Masterclass. That's why he's destroying everyone on YouTube, is because he's better at YouTube than you. So learn from the best if you want to do reaction and rage videos, and design your thumbnails and titles in a similar fashion and take best practices from a master like Ali A. People complain all the time about the clickbait. Guess what? Hop on board the value train. This is not a clickbait train, this is a value train. Okay, people are like, oh, you just write it off, it's clickbait. Ali A's clickbait. No, he's not, he's value is what he is. Look at this video. Legendary gun, best value. The drum gun is back in Fortnite. Look at this reaction, there's unique value. It's back, it's new value as well. 3 types of value communicated through this thumbnail and title. New, best, and unique. That's why it got more views than his competitors that are communicating no value. Great. Hopefully that was helpful to you. Hopefully I wasn't too assertive and I didn't sound like a jerk, but I wanted to give you some honest feedback on that thumbnail. Justin Grove, I hope that that helps. I like to be brutally honest with people about their channel and just go straight at it. If you try to be too nice with people and tell them they're doing a good job, but XYZ, they'll go, okay, well, I might not want to change anything. I want to just tell you straight up that those are some glaring issues with your thumbnails and titles that I feel are holding your channel back, okay? Great, let's talk about the last piece of staying motivated on YouTube. Are you guys enjoying the live stream? I hope you guys are enjoying the live stream. I've got a giant headache right now, and I'm having difficulty staying motivated, but you guys talking in chat, when you guys tell me that you appreciate the stream, stuff like that, it helps me stay motivated, right? So I'm gonna take a short break right here, this motivation tip, and take a sip of coffee, and cheers to all of you. I should do a voice bit with my no value bit. No value. No value. It's tough to tell people that they're, like, I want to make sure it's clear, Justin, that I was telling you that your thumbnail and title provides no value. I'm not saying that you are a no value person, okay? I'm sure you're a very valuable person, okay? You're saying it's kind of sad that people judge a book by their cover instead of the content, but that's the world now. The thing is, when there's such an increase of availability in content for people, the cover of the book becomes more and more critical to understanding what is inside of the book. And you know what? The world hasn't changed. I don't think the world's changed at all. I think the cover of the book has always been just as important as it is today with humanity. It's just the way that it is. The, hey, don't judge a book by its cover phrase, that happened way before the internet happened. All right. People, it is baked into human behavior to want to judge something by what they can see in front of their eyes. That's why people want to date and marry people that are attractive. First and foremost, how do you judge someone's value? You look at the cover of the book before you get to know the cover of the book. That's human nature. What happens when we decide what is a good place to live or what is safe? As a human being, like, this is baked into our instincts. We look at the surroundings and we judge that book by its cover. We take a look at that shelter that we're about to be in and we judge that book by its cover. We go, that's a good shelter. That area doesn't look safe. We're programmed deeply as animals, I guess you could say, to judge a book by its cover. Because that, whether it comes to safety, whether it comes to mating, whether it comes to having shelter, it even the food we select to eat. We select food that looks like it will be more delicious. Not food that necessarily will have more nutritional value for us. So we are programmed deeply as human beings to judge books by their cover. And so that's the way it's always been. So clickbait has been a thing since caveman days. It's not new. The internet is just a new form of clickbait and bringing out clickbait out of our instincts. People have always judged a book by its cover. It's actually in your best interest as a human being to judge a book by its cover. That's why we judge books by our cover. We have evolved to do so. A little bit of a rant, but I think that it's true. A lot of people say, things have changed, clickbait's blah, blah, blah. Nah, clickbait's always been there. People have worn makeup forever. They've worn clothes to make themselves look better. They've painted their house forever. They've arranged food in a way that looks appealing and put inside of a bronze bowl. We've always judged a book by its cover. Since the beginning of humanity. 100%. They told you, like clickbait, you have certain viewers that you would lose if you took advantage. If you have certain viewers on your channel that don't want you to make clickable thumbnails, then to hell with them. Leave them behind. Who cares? You need to go get new audience. Your channel is smaller. You need to acquire new audience. And if there's certain people that don't want you to make clickable thumbnails, then basically they're saying, I don't want you to be successful. I want you to be exactly the way I want you to be. And I don't want you to change. And you know what those people are? Bad for you. Because they're holding your channel back and they're holding you back. So to hell with those people. Who cares if your viewers don't want to see you putting an arrow in your thumbnail? buy to that viewer. Go get new viewers that are interested in your success as a creator, not ones that are only interested in themselves. That's my advice there, amigo. So let's talk about understanding your motivations. Okay? So your motivations when you're creating your content on YouTube, there's three primary motivations. And let me pull up my sexy wallpaper here, and we're gonna draw on the wallpaper. I love this background. I really like this background on my desktop. It's got all the social media sites on it, even dead ones like Google+. Okay, so let's talk about your three motivations as a creator. Motivation number one, oops, you can't see that. Let me make it smaller. Motivation number one as a creator, that's too small. It's like the three little pigs right here. Okay, motivation number one is growing your audience, obviously. So this is the main motivation for most creators. Growing your audience, growing your subs, growing your views, getting more likes, getting more comments. This is motivation number one for a lot of creators. Motivation number two is financial motivation for creators. Financial, maybe I can spell. Financial motivation is very, very important, of course, and maybe a primary motivation for you. And motivation number three for creators, of course, is creative, or you could even say emotional motivation for making content, okay? And we'll put a smiley face here to represent that. So when we look at these three different types of motivation for creators, audience, financial, and creative. I should probably have a more plain background. That is really hard to read. We'll go ahead and switch scenes. I'm gonna do a more plain background for next time. You need to understand which one of those three motivations is the primary motivation for you and is the primary motivation for your channel. And you need to focus on that 1000% when you're growing your channel and at every phase during the life cycle of your channel. And here's why. If your motivation is growth, we'll use the arrow over here up to represent growth, then focus 100% on audience growth when getting started. But don't get upset if the money isn't coming in necessarily when you're getting that audience growth. Don't even look at the money. And also don't get upset if you're not as happy when you're focusing on audience growth on your channel. You know why? Because you cannot be happy with the content that you're creating, making a bunch of money, and growing your audience all at the same time. That is impossible. Believe it or not, that is impossible. It's impossible to do all three of these at the exact same time. You always have to sacrifice one of these categories in exchange for the other categories along the way. And this is something that gets a lot of creators extremely frustrated when they're growing their channel, when they're growing their money, when they're trying to make the content that they want to make. So let's talk about a couple archetypal examples to drive the point home here, guys. So post in chat right now, actually. Do it right now, whether you're on Periscope, Mixer, Facebook, YouTube. Put in chat right now, what is your primary motivation right now with your channel, with your stream, with your social media game, with your online business? Is it audience growth? Is it growing your money? It's totally fine to want to grow your money. Or is it being happy? So is it creative, money, or audience? Go ahead and put that in chat. I'm really interested to see what answers you give. And do not be ashamed. Be honest with yourself right now about what your primary motivation is. And let's talk about the problems of focusing on each motivation and how that can cause issues for you, okay? And I'd like to address that with you guys because it's very, very important. It's very important to address these items. How about all of the above? All of the above is, if your motivations are all of the above, you are doomed. You are destined to fail, utterly fail on your channel. I'm sorry, but you cannot say all of the above. That's the whole point of this exercise, is that if your motivations are all of the above and you cannot prioritize one of those motivations over the others, then you will burn out and you will not be successful. You will fail, utterly fail. You will run out of steam. You will become upset with your channel because it's literally impossible to grow your audience, to be creatively satisfied, and to be making a bunch of money all at the exact same time. It is literally impossible. I know from experience. I know from coaching creators for years and years and years. It is quite literally impossible to do all of them simultaneously. Sorry, it just is what it is. So you need to pick one. You have to pick one that is your primary motivation. I'm not saying that if you pick one, you only care about that. But I'm saying you have to pick one above the other ones. That's the whole point of me trying to help you here. Cool? Pick them out. Creative, says Jacob Armstrong. It rained on everyone's party wall. I'm sorry, Snoop Pie. That's me. How about all of the above? Nope. Creative, says Evil Laugh Gaming. Creative, says Jacob. Creative, says Gimlin. That's awesome. Teaching people sustainable living, says Off Grid. Okay, so for you, it is a creative, then, I would say. That's a creative or emotional thing. You are passionate about teaching people that. So it looks like a lot of you guys are very motivated by the creative elements of producing content. That's great. I'm gonna go ahead and download a whiteboard image, and I'm gonna see if I can make my desktop wallpaper a whiteboard. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if this looks cool or not. Yeah, oh no, it doesn't look cool. It looks kind of like crap. Oh well, it is what it is. Great, so if all of you guys, your creative satisfaction, pretty much all of you are saying that creative satisfaction is your primary motivation, then let's address creative satisfaction as the issue. So I'm gonna draw on this poor looking whiteboard here. It just really doesn't look that great. Let me see if I can get a better whiteboard. Bear with me for just a moment. I want to draw on a whiteboard. I'm going to download an HD image of a whiteboard and bring it to the streams next time. All right, let's set this at. Hey, that's a little better. Okay. Oh, it looks kind of like crap. It's okay. We'll use this whiteboard. Okay, so if a lot of you guys, your number one motivation is creative, great. Creative. Let's go ahead and draw all three motivations. So being happy, basically. Making content is your motivation. And then you've got money right here. And then you've got audience growth right here. Great, so a lot of you guys are telling me that creative is your primary. So let's put that at the top of your hierarchy. Let's put that at the top of your motivations. Great, so if you want to produce content on your channel that makes you personally happy, that means that you have to sacrifice, in many, many cases, producing content that is going to grow your audience. And so what do I mean by that? So a lot of you guys will tell me, look, what I'm really passionate about on my channel, what I'm really passionate about is playing, let's use a game for example. So this is the one you want. I'm really passionate about playing, you can say something like Battlefront, the video game. But Battlefront, the video game isn't very popular. But I love this game because it's Star Wars and you can go into your reasons about why that is the case. And you say, I've tried making videos around Fortnite, I've tried making videos around PUBG and the more popular topics, and I just don't like it. I only want to make content around the thing that makes me happy. Okay? That's maybe one of you guys. I only want to make content around the topic that makes me happy. Well, guess what? Your channel is not going to grow as fast then. Sorry. Because you're prioritizing your happiness over channel growth. If channel growth was your primary motivation in this case, you would be making content that is going to get the maximum number of views. And so you would be growing faster. Awesome. Then you go ahead and make the content that has the maximum number of views. But if you do that, you're not as happy. Crap. Do you see how it's impossible to be doing both at the same time? Now, wait. There may be a case where the thing that you're passionately interested about happens to be an extremely popular topic. Cool. Do you know how long that lasts? A couple months. That fizzles out real fast. Then all of a sudden that audience growth actually goes down, and then you're stuck in the same position that you were before. You're saying, well, crap, I'm producing content around a topic that was getting me a lot of views. It's no longer getting me a lot of views. And now I am, unhappy along the way. So now you just lost your happiness because the audience growth went away. Do you see what happens there? It's impossible to even have both of these things at the same time for a sustained period of time. That's just the way that it is. Okay, so let's talk about the next scenario. Okay, so happiness is your most important motivation on your channel. And let's say that you happen to be, in the case that we just talked about, you happen to be someone who is making content around a popular topic. That's great. So is the money going to automatically be there for you? Is it? In so many cases, that is not the case, actually. It's not the case at all. You're happy making a particular type of content that is popular, the money isn't necessarily for you there as well. You have a limited amount of time, and it may be difficult for you to diversify your revenue streams because you're spending all of your time making content that you're happy about and that is getting a lot of views, but it's more difficult for you to monetize. So let me tell you a few examples. A few examples would include, I love helping people, we'll use off-grid as an example, have a sustainable lifestyle. That is something that's really important to me. And it's getting a decent amount of views, we'll say, for them. For them, it's actually getting a pretty good amount of views. However, I don't feel comfortable because I'm somebody whose creative and emotional satisfaction is my primary motivation. I don't feel comfortable selling Merc and doing a subscription program and doing sponsors and doing an affiliate program and doing all of these things that are required for me to make more money because my primary motivation in making this content is being happy, not making a ton of money. Guess what? Then you aren't going to make as much money as you would be making before. You're going to sacrifice financial freedom and financial growth in exchange for being happy. More times than not, this is what happens when people are making content because they love it. They make it because they love it and they feel extremely uncomfortable maxing out the monetization of that content. It just is the way that it is. So let's say that your primary, so do you guys see what I'm saying? Where it's literally impossible for any sustained amount of time to be happy and have a growing audience and make the most money you possibly can. You have to sacrifice in one of these other categories in order to be successful in your primary category that you want. And in your cases, guys, creative freedom is that thing. Now let's talk about audience growth, because I know a lot of you guys are probably motivated by audience growth. For the record, you do all of that, says Off-Grid. Okay, well, you're a more developed YouTube channel in online business, so you're already doing all those things. I was using that as an example, okay? But for you, let's say Off-Grid, and we'll talk more about your channel later, but let's say for you on your channel, you like to doing sustainable living, but let's say in homesteading, but let's say there's this new subtopic within your topic that is getting super popular and trending right now, and it's all about something that you don't feel comfortable with ethically, but it is super duper duper popular right now. You probably are not going to do it then because your main motivation is helping people, and if the new super popular topic is something that you don't feel comfortable with, somebody like you aren't going to do the super popular topic, and you are going to sacrifice your audience growth in exchange for your creative and emotional satisfaction and your integrity. It sucks to have integrity sometimes if you want to have all three categories, but your integrity may prevent you from growing in that case. That's another example for you that maybe would hold your audience growth back if, say, your intention is to help people and that is your ultimate intention. Cool? There's many, many, many examples there. Cool? That's why you like Markiplier, says Justin Grove. He is genuine and happy doing what he loves. He makes money and he has an audience. He is one of the more prolific creators because he has learned how to balance all of these different elements for sure. I'm sure it's not perfect. I'm sure he loses motivation so often, but that's just the way that it is. Can you change your priorities in cycles, says Gimlin. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. That will be my final point on my terrible looking whiteboard back here. So your motivation to be happy, your money, and your audience growth. Many, many creators start in this order. Let me tell you how it goes. When you're starting out, your creative satisfaction is generally the reason why you get into YouTube. And so you guys generally are going to do that when you're starting out. Then after you have done a lot of content that services your creative satisfaction, your channel isn't really growing that much and you aren't making that much money. This is the way it typically goes. So then what happens to creators next is they say, you know what? I need to focus a lot more now on audience growth, right? Well, once you focus on audience growth, guess what happens to your motivation? It starts to go down. Why? Because you're making some videos that aren't necessarily the videos that you're most passionate about, but your channel is starting to grow. So what happened when going from phase 1, small YouTuber, to phase 2, trying to grow YouTuber, is that your motivations shifted. This is phase number 2 of your motivations. Now let's say, and this is typical, you're focusing on audience growth on your channel. And maybe you're getting up to that 50,000 subscriber mark. You're starting to get over 1 million views per month. You're starting to get some traction with your audience and you're starting to grow. Great. Guess what happens next? You move into phase 3 of your channel. You say, well, now that I have an audience, it's possible for me to make a living doing this. So you move into phase 3, which is money is now your primary motivation. And so what happens when money is your primary motivation and growing that because you want to go full time, that means that your happiness will decrease potentially. And also your audience growth may decrease if you're focusing more of your time and your energy on selling people products and on doing things that are going to be profitable, not necessarily going to make you the most audience growth. You do know that that's the case, right? You can make content that makes more money but gets less views, right? So a lot of people will sacrifice the amount of views they're getting, the amount of growth they're getting on their channel in exchange for something that is going to make them more money. You can look at your numbers and do that calculation. It's possible that on your channel, you make a video that only gets 1,000 views, but it makes you $2,000. Whereas you could have a video right next to it that gets 100,000 views and only makes you $200. Right? That's a calculation that happens all the time, depending on the nature of your content and the nature of your revenue models. So as you can see, your motivations are fluid. Your motivations will change over time, but the point of this presentation, the point of what I'm telling you, is that you need to be in touch with what your true motivation is today. Because if you're not in touch with what your true motivation is today, then you will try to do all 3 of these at the same time, and you will utterly fail. Okay? So that's how you stay motivated, guys. That's how you do it. All right, so let's do a quick review of the points that we went over today. I hope that this was helpful for you. This is something I've battled with a lot and I've helped a lot of people get through. Number 1, use the 80-20 rule when you're producing content. 80% the stuff that's getting traction, 20% experimental, so that you can stay happy as a person and so that you can make sure that you're always looking for the next thing and the next phase of your channel. Number 2 is take breaks, short-term breaks, like a coffee break during your stream. Short-term breaks like exercising or taking a walk every 1.5 hours. And also planning strategically for the future. If you need to take a vacation or reduce the amount of content that you're making, produce long tail content or evergreen content before you go on vacation. So those views and those minutes watched and all of that is coming in while you're out. And the third point we just talked about ad nauseum was understanding your motivations. It is impossible to grow your audience, to make money, and to be creatively satisfied to the maximum extent at any given point. Do not try. Trust me, you will fail. If you can do these 3 things, you can be happy, you can be motivated, you can be inspired when making content, and most importantly, you can be successful as well. That's it. That's the live stream for today. And before you go, I am obligated to tell you that if you would like me to help you grow your channel, then you can feel free to join me on Patreon. I'm currently coaching creators anywhere from the hundreds of subscribers up to the hundreds of thousands of subscribers right now. Folks that are trying to get off the ground up to full time, join me on Patreon. I've got a $5 level where I can just give you advice. I've got a $25 level where I can do a legendary review of your channel and be corresponding with you on a regular basis. And you get fast pass access to questions on these live streams for me to go in depth into your channel and what you're looking for. And at the $150 level, I will do one-on-one coaching with you, and I will kind of hold your hand, if you will. Not that you need your hand to be held, but you know what I mean. And do one-on-one coaching and give you more custom advice to help you grow your online business and help you get through more complex strategies, and to help you overcome things that have been a bit more of a larger challenge for you in your journey of doing what you love for a living. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of you, and I will be back next week on Monday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and that's it. I'm going to be doing more live streams then. You guys have told me that you want YouTube algorithm stuff, you want gaming stuff, and you want social media stuff. So I'm going to come up with some topics that you guys might be interested there. So hit me up on Twitter. I'll go ahead and give you a link to the tweet from today's stream. Tell me what you want. All right, I'll go ahead and link that right here in chat. Tell me what you want. Reply to this tweet and tell me what you want for next week's streams. So far, it's algorithm, gaming, and social media strategy. Let me know if you want something else. If you have a specific topic you want me to cover, I'm here for you. All right? The advice is free, but if you want me to go in depth, pay me money through Patreon and help me chase my dream of doing this with more of my time. Cool? Thanks for watching, everybody. See you in the next one, and have a great weekend. Keep grinding out content and take a break this weekend, for God's sakes.